Hello and welcome. I am Annette Reeder from thebiblicalnutritionist.com, and it is such a gorgeous sunny morning. I am excited to have a very fulfilled day, but it starts with sharing with you this grocery discovery. We're going to go inside and just pick up 2 fruits, and from these fruits we're then going to take them back to my kitchen so we can make an immune boosting drink that I want everyone to be enjoying every day, and I'll give you the prescription for that drink as we make it. So let's go inside, but before we do, remember to hit like, subscribe, and the bell so you get notified every time we post more videos. And also, I just want to share with you, this video is being sponsored by biblicalnutritionacademy.com, and that's where we post all of our courses so you can learn for yourself in your own timing God's recipe for excellent health. All right, let's go shopping. At the grocery store, I picked up organic lemons and organic grapefruit. Now, organic grapefruit are a very difficult food to find. Rarely do you find organic. So when you do, grab them, come home, and make this immune boosting drink. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the peelings off. So we're going to go ahead and just cut the peelings off, and you could just go ahead and peel them. And grapefruits are so easy to peel. I'm just going to throw them right here in my bowl. And then we're going to add some water to this, and we're going to steep it. We're going to make like a tea just from the peelings, not the flesh of the fruit, just the peelings. So 3 grapefruit plus 3 lemons plus 3 cups of water. That's what we're going to do to make this drink. Now make sure you go ahead and wash the fruit really well with your best veggie wash. Whether they're organic or not organic, it doesn't matter. They still need to be scrubbed really good because we are using the peelings for this recipe. To make our citrus infused immunity drink, we're going to put our peelings into this pot. And to this pot, we're going to add 3 cups of water. And I want to make sure that my water is from my purified pitcher. I'll put a link to the pitcher that I use because it's so much better than the pure and the Brita that is sold in the store. I want to make sure my water is as pure as possible. Now we're going to cover this with a glass lid, and we're going to cook this on the stove to a simmer. When you are cooking on a stove, make sure that the flame is always just underneath the pot and never coming up around the sides. I love cooking with gas, but some people may not be aware of the fact that the flame needs to be right around the 2/3 inner circle of the pot. While our rinds are cooking on the stove, I'm going to go ahead and use these fruits. I don't want to waste them at all because I just paid kind of a high dollar for organic fruit. So I'm going to go ahead and slice these open, and then we're going to take the juice out and save that for our delicious tea in the morning as well. So we're not only going to use the flesh of the fruit like I'm doing now, but we're using the rinds that we've already put on the stove. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and juice these, and I am going to juice my lemons and my grapefruit together. You totally could separate them out, especially if you prefer one over the other. And this is just going to go in my tea in the morning or just my hot water in the morning. I'm going to put these into ice cube trays, freeze them, and then I just pull one out every morning. Now what I have on the stove, you can see it's a little bit of a boil, and that's more than what I want. So I'm going to decrease that to a very low temperature, and I'm going to cook this for 3 hours. I just want it to simmer. Well, it has been a little over 3 hours. I turned it off and let it cool down. And you can see there are our rinds. And you can see how the color has come all the way through the rind there. Oh, if you were in my house right now, you'd say, oh, it smells amazing here. Now let's strain it. Since I've let it cool enough, it's easy to manage. So we're going to go ahead and just strain it through here. Oh, that smells so good. And I do not want to miss a single drop. So I'm going to go ahead and use a spoon too to kind of smash it to make sure I get every bit of it. as I start to fill my salad dressing bottles with this juice, with this immune boosting drink, I really want you to understand what it does. So there's a study on NIH, which is National Institute for Health, came out in May in 2020. That study talked about just what we're doing, the nutritional benefit in the peelings of our citrus fruits. In one of my other videos, I talk about angiogenesis and how it's the growth of blood vessels to a tumor. And when that tumor gets those blood vessels, it begins to metastasize throughout your entire body. Well, this juice, remember we're going to drink 2 tablespoons twice a day, is going to help inhibit that tumor growth. Now, whether you have cancer or do not have cancer or don't know if you have cancer, most of us would not know because we aren't experiencing any symptoms. Now, unless you're doing the blood testing that I recommend, then you would have an early sign that, uh-oh, something's on. We need to take care of this right away. So this juice, what they're realizing from this study, when we've been throwing away, I mean, it's been said that over 700,000 tons of peelings are thrown away just from the orange juice industry alone. Imagine, now the pharmaceutical company is like, oh, wait a minute, there's something here, because listen to this. It increases autophagy and cell death. Autophagy is when your body cleanses out all of these cells that are like, hey, you're done, you need to move on, make room for some new growth. That also means it increases cancer cell death. So just imagine just the essential oils on the peeling of these citrus fruit, and when we're able to extract it through the heat process that we use, the water heat process that we used, it actually works. Even though you may lower the concentration of the antioxidants, they showed and mentioned that as well, that you will lower the antioxidants, but it's still extremely powerful. I mean, this just kind of blew me away when I was reading this study. So this is a true eye-opener also for the pharmaceutical companies, but I don't want you to wait for the pharmaceutical company to come up with an answer. Instead, I want you to do what I did. I want you to get the fruit yourself. Lemons, oranges, grapefruits, these are all going to do a good job. I want you to get the fruit yourself, take the peelings, do what I did, steep it for 3 hours, and get those extracts into that juice, and then drink that juice 2 tablespoons twice a day. All of the studies in this specific study, all of the findings in this study, they all mentioned about cellular death, as far as cancer cellular death. Now, when I was young, scientists thought they had discovered so much that we were set for life. Well, I'm not young anymore, and yet we're still making discoveries. But the discoveries that are proven true are always coming back to God's Word. And God's Word is all about giving us, designing for us, creating for us the food that He called good for us to eat. Now, there's other things out there that people eat. It's like, well, He didn't call that good, so I'm not touching that. But yet the foods that He did call good, it has an exponential effect. We may not understand. In fact, there's only some studies are like where there's 90,000 flavonoids that have been identified. Well, that's a lot, and I can't even imagine listing all of them. But yet God is saying, you haven't even discovered half of what I have in this fruit. And that's what we're realizing. So a study just coming out last May at NIH, National Institute for Health, discovering that citrus peelings have this carcinogenic effect. You know, they have this anti-carcinogenic effect in our bodies. They help get rid of cancer cells. They help cancer cells to die in early death, which means they're going to get out of there. They help inhibit the growth of blood vessels to that cancer. So that stops the metastasis. And so and scientists is like, whoa, hey, we're onto something. Yeah, but God had already told us that. God had already designed it that way. We just have to make the discovery. Or we can just take it at scriptural value. I'm not going to say face value because it's scriptural value, because we serve a God who loves us. And He is a God who has loved you from the moment of conception. And that's why this makes sense. That's why this excites me. Because many people, many of you have reached out and said, well, Nat, I don't believe in God, but I like what you're teaching. I'm happy with that. And one of these days, God's going to reveal Himself to you in a unique way. Now, these foods, these lemons and these grapefruit, so you can also get the essential oils out of it by zesting it. So get yourself a really good zester and zest the peeling. Put it in your yogurt, your oatmeal, your salads, your tea, anything. But get these peelings into your diet every day, because we all need to be living in a protective mindset and also a protective health. In other words, doing what we can according to God's foods to help our body to protect itself against cancer. Now, here's how I want my body to respond to cancer. Annette, hey, yeah, a cancer cell came in today. We took care of it and we didn't even interrupt your day. And that's how I want it to go, period. Many times people get diagnosed with stage 3, stage 4 cancer, and they're like, wow, I didn't know I was sick. Well, then I recommend you always get blood work, and you can order the blood work yourself. So go back and check out those videos. Okay, so that's it for today. I really want you to get these fruits into your diet, and not just the flesh. The flesh is good, but the peeling is even better. So do this way or zest it however you want to do it. Put it in the comments down below. Are you going to steep it or are you going to zest it? Or are you going to do both? I can't wait to read your comments. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is always my honor and my privilege to share with you God's recipe for excellent health. And yes, that does include real fruit, real citrus fruit, and the peelings. So my garden is going to starve of peelings because we're going to use them ourselves. Anyway, I'm Annette Reeder from thebiblicalnutritionist.com. Don't forget to check out our academy, biblicalnutritionacademy.com. That's where we have all of our courses to help you learn God's recipe for excellent health. Thanks for watching.
My husband's doctor was writing prescriptions faster than our hearts were beating with stress. Yet, could there be another way? Is there another answer? Well, that is when a friend suggested to me, Annette, go back into God's Word, start reading it differently, and start with the Daniel fast. Well, those words changed the trajectory of our lives. And 30 days later, we were prescription-free, 35 pounds lighter, combined total, lower cholesterol, lower triglycerides, and we knew that God had answered our prayer for greater health His way. Now, if you are praying for an answer on how to get started, I highly recommend the Daniel fast. First, go to the biblicalnutritionacademy.com website, click on the Daniel fast, and sign up. It's that easy. Plus, the link will be in the show notes below.